Oh my gosh, it's that vlog that I never thought would come. It's my new kitchen reveal. Yes, after all that time, watch the 4-part renovation vlog if you fancy. The kitchen is finally finished. I'm going to hit you with some before and afters, because we all have a good before and after, and then kitchen tour shall commence. So one of the major issues we had with our kitchen before was a lack of work surface space, and that has kind of been solved by the world's largest island unit. Really, in order to get any work surface space in such an open plan space as we have, big island was the way to go. So yeah, we've gained all of this worktop space. Things were not entirely smooth sailing with this walnut worktop, as you will have seen, but we're now all sorted and I absolutely love it. And I just feel like I finally have that space for cooking and baking and food prep, and it's brilliant. We've gone for open shelving rather than the wall units that we had before. I know that open shelving isn't for everyone. Some people feel like it's always going to be cluttered and they don't want mess on show and they like being able to shove things away. But honestly, I just love playing and rearranging things on the shelves. And I'm kind of a messy person. Like, this is always going to be a bit of a messy house. I'm definitely like a cozy clutter person rather than a, you know, I'm not a minimalist. So I like being able to display like pretty things, like my favourite pie dish, and the new crockery that we bought. I love our new dinner service, got that from John Lewis. I also really love having this hanging bar in the background where we've got like favourite mugs, useful bits and bobs that we use all the time, like the colander and the oven glove and tea towels and a cloth, and like you have that one frying pan that you use all the time. The other major issue we had with our old kitchen was that the sink was tiny, so I knew straight away I wanted to get a Mahusive sink. We've got this big Belfast style double sink. It solves all of our sink problems. So pleased with it. Went for a brass tap. Definitely gone for like that mixed metals look with the stainless steel units and the brass tap. The only thing about having a Belfast style sink like this is you don't end up having a drainer, and also because ours is like set up rather than inset under, it's like inset rather than underset, I think. We needed to have an external drainer. We couldn't have draining lines like cut into our quartz worktop. So that problem is solved by this lovely Joseph drainer, which we actually had before anyway. The other issue that we had with our kitchen was I hated that the fridge was this end. So when you walked into the flat from the front door over there, it was just the first thing you saw. So we actually moved the fridge from this end to that end. It was not a simple process. There were all sorts of issues to combat there, but I am so glad we did it. I think it makes a massive difference to kind of the overall look of the kitchen when you walk in through the front door, which when you do so looks a little like this. So much more harmonious, I feel, like having that wallpaper there and the fridge this end. So those are the major problems that we solved from our old kitchen to our new kitchen. Let's have a little look at the details. So the island unit, we went for stainless steel cupboards all the way around. So it's a 1.5, i.e. like that is a full depth cupboard. This is a half depth cupboard. Gives us extra storage down this side. If you live in a flat, you know that storage is a big problem because you don't have a loft, you don't have any big cupboards or things like that. So it makes a big difference. On top of the island unit, we have our hob and our lovely stainless steel island extractor. My advice to you would be, if you can avoid having an island extractor, do so, because they are blooming expensive, but this is a thing of beauty. Again, it caused lots of issues. It had to be cut down in order to fit, but I now absolutely love how it looks. I've got this trivet here. That's an Ikea jobby as well. Sort of most used cookbooks, knives, you know, most used utensils. This, I have no idea where it came from. I think we inherited this from like one of Dan's previous flats or houses. I don't really like it. I would like something more attractive pop our utensils in. Then all of this is kept free for worktop space. Ah, KitchenAid. Lovely birthday present. These trays we actually used at our wedding to serve our canapes on, and they now just house, like, again, kind of most used stuff. So like our vitamins. I try and keep a bunch of flowers on there just to kind of cheer things up a little bit. Coasters, that sort of stuff. This run of units is all drawers. In fact, we've got all drawers on the bottom level of our kitchen. They've got like secret drawers inside. So the ones on this side have got 2 levels at the top of secret drawers, big deep drawer, and then just 1 big deep drawer at the bottom for keeping larger things in. One of the things I really like about going for an Ikea kitchen is that we have all of these inserts that we can use. So for example, in this bottom drawer, there's this very handy thing for keeping chopping boards and things like that in, spatter guard. The insides of my drawers are not particularly well organised, but you know, this is real life. In here we have like spices and herbs. We seem to have a lot more spices than herbs. And then our oven. Now, oven wise, we went for the simplest possible oven that we could. Our old oven was really complicated to use. It had like lots of buttons you had to press before it would work. Constantly turn itself off if you hadn't pressed the right kind of combinations of buttons first, and like go on to self-timer mode and things like that. So we have gone for a very simple, it's got 3 knobs. It's got temperature, type of like oven that you're using, like oven or grill, and then it has a timer on it that, to be honest, we don't really use because we use, I'll say it quietly so she doesn't jump in, we use Alexa for our timer most of the time. Probably should mention that because we're in a flat as well, obviously we don't have gas, so it is an electric hob. We went for a ceramic hob over an induction hob. We just felt like induction hobs were really, really expensive for what they were, so we went for like a nice, like more featured ceramic hob than an induction hob. And we just couldn't see the benefits of it, to be honest. Like, I know it heats stuff up quicker, but so it just didn't seem worth it. Here we have the larder cupboard. I'm not showing you inside the larder cupboard because it is disorganized at the moment. Oh, go on, you can have a peek. Again, I said this is real life, didn't I? Ugh. But we painted that with blackboard paint. It's exactly the same cupboard as it was before. I do occasionally have a little scribble on there. We were originally thinking about putting like a kegerator in there, which for non-beery people is like a fridge with a keg in with a beer pump on the top. We just could not get one to fit. There was one that would fit in the space, which is really odd because it is a standard cupboard size. There was only one that would fit in the space, and it was very, very expensive. So it's possibly something we'll do at a later stage, possibly not. You know, this is maybe not like our forever home. It is our first home, so I don't know if we want to spend that much. Like, you have to remember, my original plans were not to buy a new kitchen for this flat. They were just to tart up the old one. Unfortunately, it then fell apart. So we didn't really want to spend that much. We may do it one day, as I said, but for the moment we decided just to keep the larder space, which is a really useful storage space. Surrounding our beautiful larder cupboard, you can see this gorgeous wallpaper. It's called Tory Spring, and I absolutely adore it. It's kind of a goldy yellow colour. I love, yeah, all the oranges and peaches and pinks and blues that are in it. We have actually continued that into the very messy, as you can see at the moment, back end of our living room, which will create a bit of flow. So moving on to this side of our kitchen, big American fridge freezer. When we moved into this flat, it had an American fridge freezer. It was the first time I'd had one. I just became addicted to having ice and water on tap, to be honest, and a large fridge space. I just loved it. So we just swapped our big black fridge freezer for a new stainless steel effect one. It's not stainless steel because an actual stainless steel refrigerator was insanely expensive. Moving down this line, again, these are all large drawers. We have a microwave, which is exactly the same microwave we had before in our old kitchen. We did look at the built-in ones. Again, just so expensive. You know, that microwave cost about 30 quid. when we moved out of our old flat, which was rented, the microwave actually belonged to the flat. So we thought, oh, do you know what? I don't think we actually use the microwave that often. Let's see if we can live without it. And it turned out that we use the microwave just enough that it was annoying not to have one. So we just bought a really cheap one, and it does everything we need. And the idea of spending like as much as our oven on a built-in one, and also like not really sure where it would go because we don't have upper units, so I don't know. It just didn't work, just didn't seem to work for us. So we just kept that. And then on top of the microwave, I just have kind of like most used jars of stuff. So plain flour, salt, that kind of thing. More Joseph and Joseph. My husband is a bit obsessed. Love these chopping boards. So sink I've already covered. Under the sink, again, we just have some useful drawers. That's where all our dishwasher tabs are, and cleaning cloths and sponges and stuff. These are our bins. Ooh. As you can see, I have labelled for recycling purposes. What I really like about these is A, they are under the sink. I hated having an external bin that was out, like in the felt like it was in the middle of my house all the time because of how open plan our kitchen and flat is. And I also really like that these have handles and they just lift out. Again, living in a flat, our rubbish storage rubbish room thing is like a little walk from the flat downstairs into the basement. So it's just really easy to be able to carry your recycling down and keep it all separate. When we just had one bin as well, we just end up with boxes of recycling around all the time. I love that it's all neat under there. This is our dishwasher. So, you know, we've got the illusion of looking like two drawers. There it is. It is, again, if you watch the vlogs, you'll know it is a far fancier dishwasher than we had planned on having. It does the little like light on the floor thing when it's running. It's great. It does the job. Drawers here. Oh, drawer of dreams. It's got all the mugs in. Again, I fitted some extra drawer here. And then our like spare Crocs and dinner service and stuff are all in two drawers down here. Again, I really like about the Ikea kitchen that you can buy all these inserts, so like felt bits to keep all of your Crocs protected and things. And this is like our little kind of coffee area. So we've got our mugs, got a kettle, all the little coffee snob bits that we have, like grinder, you know, AeroPress. We have a coffee subscription, so when we have our coffee through, they send us a little postcard. So I love that. Again, I just bought these little magnetic clip things that clip onto the Ikea Kungsfors shelves, and we can clip the coffee of the week description to it. So again, there's one of those little gold wedding trays, brass wedding trays, coffee box with all our coffees in, jars with coffees and teas, mugs, bits and bobs on the shelves. Keep glasses on there, just the stuff that you use all the time. Like, it's so nice just to have it out so you don't have to kind of constantly get things out of cupboards. Little baking bit, which has got all like, again, like most used little baking ingredients. And then our dinner service we got from John Lewis. Did eventually manage to get a set that wasn't smashed. And I absolutely adore it. And of course, I can't really finish talking about this wall without discussing the tiling. They were from Tops Tiles. Yes, I went for a herringbone pattern. I have no regrets. I think it looks amazing. They are kind of white with a sort of grey edge to them, and it's an irregular grey edge, and then we went for a light grey grout as well. The kitchen fitter absolutely hated me for choosing herringbone. Like, literally hated me, because it does mean that there are a lot of cuts to do, because they're not just sort of laid straight, so you've got cuts basically all the way around all of the edge. Yeah, so they're basically just, it's a lot of work. Now, I hasten to add, I did from the very beginning say to the fitter that we were going to go for herringbone, so it shouldn't have been a surprise, but I have spoken to other people who've had herringbone and their tilers have all been as moany about it. So if you want it, stay strong. It is possible over a very large area. Just be prepared that you will need extra tiles for breakage and like cutting, and your tiler is gonna hate you. Like, it's just gonna happen. But it does mean we do have a tile backsplash now, because if you remember in the old kitchen, that was another problem we solved actually. There was no backsplash at all. It was just a painted wall and it just looked constantly grubby. Whereas this I can just wipe down after the washing up. I say the washing up like my husband does the washing up. I don't do the washing up. It's not my job. Like, it's not that I never do any washing up, but regularly he does the washing up. I'm gonna just give it a bit of wipe down. It's great. I went for a quartz worktop on this side, which has got a really strong vein in it. We got this from a company called Stone and Earth. Really happy with it. It is gorgeous. It was not cheap. I would say both of my work surface choices were what pushed the kitchen to be a little bit more expensive. The other thing that I had to push for a little bit, but really I'm glad I did, was getting a socket on the island unit, which means I can use things like the mixer, you know, like the slow cooker when I want to over here. Originally, I wanted a pop-up socket, like that actually came up probably around the middle here somewhere, out of the worktop. A, they are very expensive. B, it would have taken up, I was surprised by like nearly half of one of these cupboards. They're actually like take up a massive amount of room underneath where you want them. So those were two reasons we didn't get one. The other reason we didn't get one was basically if you want one, you need to, and if you want one like I did, where it actually, rather than having a metal kind of piece that comes up out of the worktop, where you actually replace, basically it would look kind of just almost flush and the worktop itself would pop out. You need to have that organised and have it done as part of your worktop fabrication. This was not made clear to me, so it ended up being that it would have been a massively expensive and very difficult, lengthy kind of retrofit type thing, and it just wasn't worth it in the end. And actually, I was really worried about how the socket was going to look on the end of the unit, but I went for a stainless steel one. I went for a very low profile one, so it just sits almost flush against it, and I honestly think it looks fine. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. And speaking of sockets, the other little luxury I went for was the Dowsing and Reynolds like brass sockets, to pick out the brass features we have, like the tap, the handles on the units, that kind of overall mixed metals look that I've gone for. Absolutely no regrets, love them. The only issue with them is that I love them so much, I now hate all of the white plastic sockets in the rest of the flat and want to replace them all, and they ain't cheap. Be doing those at Room time, I think. This addition down the centre of the kitchen was a little controversial. My husband thinks I'm absolutely insane to put a rug in the kitchen because he thinks it's just going to get disgusting. I saw a lot of rugs on Pinterest. I just really like the way it looks. I didn't spend a lot on it. We'll see how we go with it. I do love the look of it. So far, I've managed not to spill tomato on it. We'll see how it goes. So I think that's it. If there's anything in the kitchen that you want to know about, that you feel like I haven't described or haven't gone into enough detail about, please let me know. I can't believe that it's finally done. I absolutely adore it now it is done. It is amazing. I would rather it not have been quite so stressful to attain, gotta be honest. But now it's here, I'm feeling like I am finally really enjoying it. So thank you for watching the many vlogs that led up to this point. Thank you for sticking with me when I was a right moany moo when the process was going on. Yeah, there it is, the kitchen. Next up, mini utility room. Currently working on that, so look out for mini utility room vlogs very soon.